What?
Okay, welcome everybody to Unexpected Wrestling. I am Minty. There's Mr. Chong. He's got a mischievous look on his face. He's ready. Yeah, what? Is that Logan Paul's yeet? He's that was probably what he was working on. That's why he had that shit-eating grin on his face while we were waiting there. He was probably getting the yeet ready. Mr. Chong, do you have your microphone on?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I saw you chuckle, but I did not hear any audio, so I didn't know.
No, I only know one word.
Oh, God. Is that actually an official word in the dictionary? I'll have to look that up. God. It's been an interesting week in the world of professional wrestling, I must say. We have some hot topics to get into, and then we also have Raw and SmackDown discussions. Especially SmackDown has made some waves on the internet lately, and we're going to be touching base on a bunch of different things there. It looks like WrestleMania is shaping up. I think we almost have every official match announced now, and look forward to next week where we will have our official WrestleMania predictions at probably in the middle of the show. We will try to have predictions on each match, and then we'll find out who has the most correct predictions. And then I think we've already discussed that the weekend of WrestleMania, we will be doing a Sunday stream live in studio. And then I believe we are also going to be doing a Monday stream to recap all the events that happened at WrestleMania. So Sunday we will recap night one, we'll recap Saturday night. Monday, we will mostly recap Sunday night and then also kind of go over WrestleMania as a whole. Still deciding on when we're going to be doing that on the Monday after WrestleMania. Probably in the afternoon. It will not be at our regular 7 p.m. time. I'll say that.
We'll do it right during Raw. We'll compete for ratings.
You know what? We'll start at 8 p.m. and we'll actually do a special 3-hour Unexpected Wrestling. We'll see.
I bet you we'll do better than AEW.
Oh God, maybe, but I have a feeling the Raw after WrestleMania will trump our views. Although we are getting close to maybe, no, we're actually not getting anywhere close to getting the views. Yeah, we would be yeeted out of the entire ecosystem at that point. Let's get into some wrestling news and headlines, and I wanted to start out with our good friend, the legend himself, Chris Jericho, or as a lot of people would like to call a busted open can of biscuits, the way that he looks lately. So Mr. Jericho decided to do an interview, I forget with who, but he said that he is open to a potential return to WWE someday. Just to remind everybody, he has been one of the biggest advocates for AEW. He's been championing the company, claimed that AEW was going to be beating Raw in the ratings by year one. We saw that didn't happen. He said in the past that he plans to retire in AEW, that that AEW would be the last place that he ever wrestles, but now it seems like he's backtracking on that. So while speaking at the Horror Rock and WrestleFest in Manchester, England. All right, so maybe he was drunk off his ass over in England. And...
yeah. No yeet. No yeet on that.
Yeah, no yeet. No yeet. So here is his exact quote here. It says, I would have considered a return to WWE before things changed. I mean, you'd be crazy not to consider it. Once again, there are 2 teams you can play on, which is amazing. And it's one of the reasons why I wanted to take a chance to go to AEW in the first place. A real gamble. So yeah. So yeah, of course I would consider going back there. I would also consider not going back there. It just depends on what the situation is and what's going on with me at the time. We'll see. It's not even a never say never thing. It's more like consider all your options and choose wisely. And if you followed my career, you know I've never had a problem with chasing, evolving, reinventing, and taking chances. I'm not scared of that. You failed on Dancing with the Stars when you took a chance on that. You took a 2-year break from wrestling to go on Dancing with the Stars. I think you were voted off like the 3rd show in. And then you didn't really. I think you might have been in one of the Sharknado movies.
No, that was Kurt Angle, I thought.
I think Kurt Angle also was in it, but I believe Jericho was also in a Sharknado movie at one point too. Or maybe his was a Mega Octopus or something. Maybe Kurt Angle was in the mainline Sharknado and Jericho was in the Mega Octopus.
Yeah, more like Mega Octopussy for him.
But Jericho, he has a kind of a main character syndrome, and at one point I think he was a main character in the world of wrestling. I think his vision of his career is much different than what the typical fan would see his vision as. Just like his singing career is much different than what it would appear to the average fan. I mean, it's good that Jericho thinks very highly of himself. And I, for one, would kind of roll my eyes if Jericho did end up coming back to WWE. I used to be a big Jericho fan back in the early 2000s. And even with like his kind of leaving WWE, coming back, like I kind of dug his returns. One of my favorite matches I saw from him live was against CM Punk at WrestleMania 28. I thought that was one of the best matches of his career. That Jericho is not the Jericho we have today. I don't think Jericho can put it on a caliber match like that.
Nope, he's a shell from himself.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we've seen the best of Jericho. I don't think he's going to be able to wow us with like a great performance again. As for like, it's hard for me to even think of like an AEW match that like I could hold to a standard, like saying, oh, this is a great Jericho match. I really, 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 and I'm not even trying to be negative, I really don't appreciate his work in AEW. I really think that it's like you're seeing a shell of a wrestler that used to be a top tier talent. And it's sad that I say that and that I think that way, but I really have never been impressed with any of his AEW work. And I'm not even judging it off of his dance partners. I'm judging off of his capabilities in the ring.
Yeah.
Mr. Chunk, what are your thoughts on this?
My biggest thought is his tits jiggle very nicely in AEW.
So that's an interesting thing with Jericho.
Because he keeps himself in shape, but not really.
Well, so he started in AEW in somewhat decent shape. And then he started to kind of fluctuate. He gained a lot of weight. And then one of the pivotal moments was year 1. AEW, they had a Dynamite show. And immediately after Dynamite, there was an NBA game. So, like, a lot of the NBA fans tuned in to, like, the last 10 minutes of Dynamite. And the NBA fans went on Twitter and was like, oh my God, is that Chris Jericho? I remember him too in the 2000s. What happened? Blah, blah, blah. What happened? Like, he got really, really offended by their comments. I remember he was on Twitter, like, spurging out about it. And then he actually got himself in good shape. Around, like, halfway through year 2, Jericho, like, he got the washboard abs again, and he got himself in good shape. But now I think he's back on the downward cycle where he's losing
Yes.
his physique again.
And you
Um,
compare him to like Daddy Ass and
oh
Jeff Jarrett,
God,
who are his
yes,
age or older, and
yes,
they're in top-notch shape for their age.
yes. Billy Gunn is like he is like the pivotal. Like, I'm not gonna assume anything. I hope he's not like taking drugs or anything like steroids or anything like that. But Billy Gunn looks great for his age. You would never guess that he's in his, what is he? Probably 50s, I'd say at
Gotta be
this
in his
point.
50s.
Yeah. And Jarrett, like, you can see his age, but he's in great shape for it.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think Jarrett is on his. I think Jarrett is legit going to be retiring this year. I think he's on
yeah.
his last like main event type tour. He's somebody that I do believe will probably retire in AEW. Jarrett, uh, Double J Jeff Jarrett. He has spent his career chasing the paycheck, whether it
Yeah.
be him starting his own companies, him just working for whatever company will pay him the most, and he's going to end his career chasing the paycheck. Where like AEW is like the ultimate prize of chasing the paycheck for
Yes.
these veteran wrestlers. Pretty
Yes.
much,
Of
they are
course.
giving out the biggest paydays for the least work, and they're paying good money to have these legends, especially if you have ties with like WCW. Tony Khan has a is happy to meet you. Let's just say that.
Yes.
So Jericho's probably getting a nice paycheck. I think a part of him does like want to end his career on a good note, and that's probably why these thoughts are crossing his mind of the potential going back to WWE. I don't blame him, but I would roll my eyes if it happened. Like, I don't think WWE could do the Disney magic and make him look great again. I really don't. Maybe that's just me though.
No, I mean,
As
I think if he got himself fixed here, just a little
got some
bit.
plastic surgery, maybe him and Charlotte Flair can have a discussion about
Yeah.
plastic surgeons. And
Because Billy Gunn might be the ass man, but it sounds like Chris Jericho's the breast man.
oh God, Jesus Christ! Excuse me. Oh God. All right. Well, staying on the AEW topic, Tony Khan recently got into the headlines, and so this is an interesting thing here. So Tony Khan did a media scrum for his pay per view this weekend. It's actually happening in the next hour. AEW Dynasty is happening this weekend. He did a voice call, little media scrum thing, and one of the reporters that asked him a question, they quoted a report from one of the dirt sheet reporters saying that AEW Dynamite has been drawing 500,000 viewers weekly on Max, and so that would be probably close to like 80% of the viewership that they're getting on TBS. Like last week, they were below 600,000 on TBS, and then if this is true, they're saying that Max, the app Max that you can watch on your phone, your TV, or whatever, they're claiming 500,000 weekly viewers on Max. That would mean that they're getting over 1 million viewers altogether, which there's a lot of actual facts that are saying that this is false. First of all, let's just look at the facts here. If you went on to the Max app right now, you would see that AEW is not in the top 10 of any category on that app. And that's including sports. And there was one of the expert analysis actually did the dirty work and looked into the top 10 in sports on Max and got a good estimate of what some of the top shows were ranking in viewership on Max. And that viewership, even in the top 10, like even in the top 5, I believe, was less than 200,000. So if this was true, that AEW was getting 500,000 viewers for Dynamite Weekly on Max, they would definitely be in the number one spot. The fact that they're not even in the top 10, an expert has estimated that AEW Dynamite, let's say they're not in the top 10, they are in 11th place, the highest place that they could possibly be without being in the top 10, they would be averaging at most 30,000 viewers, which would make them like it's like peanuts compared to what they're doing. But so the case in point is Tony Khan was asked a question about the report that they were getting 500,000 weekly viewers on Max, and his response was this. Let me get the exact quote.
What?
Tony Khan, I can't do a Tony Khan voice, but here is what he said. I thought that was a really exciting report for AEW and very consistent with everything I've been told. While the numbers are being kept close to the vest, we're one of the top sports streaming shows, and that report was consistent with what I heard. So here's the owner of AEW, the person that signed on the bottom line to be on Max, saying that he doesn't know what numbers they're pulling on Max. Things that make you go, something doesn't sound right here. If you have a show on Max that's dependent on viewers, subscribers, and stuff, how would you not be getting any details on what the viewership is like on there? Something isn't adding up here.
What? What?
That's what I have to say.
And something I could tell you, just judging by AEW's past, if they were making these outrageous viewership on the app, they would be promoting that everywhere. They would have little splash screens on Dynamite saying 500,000 viewers on Max and blah 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 blah. The fact that everyone's really tight-lipped about the situation tells me that they're underperforming, and I wouldn't say things are in turmoil, but it'll be interesting in about 2.5 years when the renewals come up, and we'll see where TBS and Max actually do stand with AEW, because indications are pointing in a way that tell me that AEW might not be holding up the value that they were expected to hold up. And I said that back when they initially signed the contract. Typically a TV contract is for 5 years. AEW was only offered a 3-year deal with the option to extend it to 5 years when the 3-year deal is up. That told me that they are on a trial basis, and then they're going to reevaluate the situation in 3 years and see where they're standing. And then there's obviously there's things that we don't know about in the contract. There's a lot of rumors saying that TBS Turner has an investment in AEW. They own part stock in the company. Tony Khan has denied that, but there's rumors that they do have a vested interest in the company.
Well, you know what they say, whoever denied it supplied it. So
God, we're going back to Nickelodeon salute your short jokes, dude.
we might as well. Whenever talking about AEW, we might as well do that.
Yeah, we might as well. We might as well go to the juvenile responses. Okay, so the next thing we are going to cover here in the rumors and gossip in the wrestling world, this is more of a statement rather than a rumor or gossip, but Chelsea Green, she got into it on X, the formerly Twitter, with none other than Val Venus, good old Sean Morley himself, the outspoken, I don't even know what you want to call him, but let's just look into this here. Let's just read a good portion of the report here. It says, earlier this week, WWE's Women's United States Champion Chelsea Green celebrated International Transgender Day of Visibility. I didn't even know that was a thing. In a post on Twitter/X, and issued a response to a fan that criticized her doing so. Former WWE star Val Venus, Sean Morley, wrote the following message on Twitter in regards to being referred to as hateful by Chelsea. Let's see how long this is. Oh God, he wrote a novel. All right, let's.
I think you need AI to paraphrase this.
Okay, so here's Sean Morley. I'm going to try to splice this up as best as possible. Professional wrestlers are entertainers first and foremost. However, when entertainers step beyond their role in the entertainment industry to engage in political discourse, it highlights a troubling cultural trend. the expectation that everyday people should blindly align with the political stances of boob tube celebrities with any due process scrutiny. Even more concerning is the tendency to vilify dissenters with labels like transphobic and bigot, or as Chelsea Green called me, hateful. It sounds like he used AI to write this.
Yeah.
This uncritical idolization of celebrity opinions is not just irrational, it takes a nuke to the foundation of any meaningful dialogue and critical thinking. My political positions are always open for scrutiny. Republicans regularly challenge my positions, libertarians challenge my positions, and even anarchists challenge my positions. Leftists, however, do not challenge my positions. They instantly throw the labels of hateful, bigot, and anything phobic at the reputations of anyone who dare challenge their insane positions. Yeah, I don't know if Chief Morley wrote that himself. I call him Chief Morley because he was the Raw general manager for a while, and that's what he went by, Chief Morley. That's a little fun fact
tidbit.
for those. Yeah, that was like 2004 Raw.
Does he not make money elsewhere? Like he has the time
I don't
to
think he
generate this
wrestles
type of
anymore.
post?
I honestly think like his job now is just to be this like
Troll?
outspoken like guy on the internet now. Because Chelsea Green, this is not the first time that he's done things like this. He usually goes after people like Nyla Rose and
Of course.
yeah. He usually goes after people that are very outspoken about equal rights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's never really went after Chelsea before, but now he has. To be honest, I'm not surprised with him. I'm more surprised with her, like addressing him personally, because I think that would be something that WWE would be like, oh, you know what? Don't even get involved with that. You know, we don't want to be connected with his crazy theories and whatever. But I guess she was just kind of like YOLO and did it anyway. Her response to his statement there is, Val, I've been holding back from responding with the same level of hostility you've shown. But since you keep tagging me, I'll say this and I won't be responding again. I'm Canadian. I can't even vote. So when I speak about human rights, I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about equality. Although I am sure you would love to take this time to further push your political agenda, I will continue to push the LGBTQ plus community with my cis privilege. I don't know what cis means. It is at least
Yeah,
it is the least I can do.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's the opposite of the category of LGBTQ.
Okay.
Right. It's like
Yeah.
you and I would be cis.
Gotcha. And that was her response to Chief Morley. It was just kind of surprising to me that she would even engage him in conversation, because obviously that's what he's looking for. He's looking to have some sort of Twitter battle. I'm not really sure how he makes money. I guess that there's a lot of people that might support his ideology and maybe send him donations, because I know he doesn't wrestle anymore, and I don't think there's any like major news source that like has him on as guest or anything like that. He literally he's like an online troll. Really,
it's so sad. That's how he's like defining his life now.
To be honest with you, I
know?
have not seen like a recent picture of him. I haven't seen like a video of him in a long time. I wouldn't be surprised.
Does he still have the towel wrapped around his waist?
Yeah, maybe for a different reason now, but
yeah.
Yeah. So one thing I did want to add to this whole thing, Mr. Chunk, let me share something real quick, just to kind of put into perspective of who we're dealing with here. Here is a photo of Mr. Val Venus, Sean Morley. This was taken in 1999, shortly after a match he had with Jeff Jarrett and Deborah. And it was him and none other than Nicole Bass, if you remember her from whatchamacallit, the Howard Stern show. She actually worked in WWE for a little bit. And this is a picture of him.
Great zoom in.
Yeah.
Great zoom in.
This is a picture of him after giving her a nice little smooch on the lips. One thing I didn't get a picture of Nicole Bass. Now, Nicole Bass is not a transgendered woman, but she was very muscular, and she did look like a guy, and I'm not trying to say that in a negative way. She was very muscular, probably on the roids. Imagine China, but even bigger. And yeah, he part of his whole deal was they won the match thanks to her, and then he smooched her on the lips afterwards, and this was immediately after their kiss. He looked very happy to be involved in that segment, in my opinion, and I'm not sure how his opinions changed since then, but that is the look of a happy man after kissing a very masculine woman, just in my opinion, right there.
Yeah.
And we'll leave it at that.
Did you know that Nicole Bass is related to Lance Bass? Next time on Finding Your Roots.
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
we're
We're gonna have to fact check Mr. Chunk on that one. I have
I'm
a feeling
kidding.
that's not.
I'm kidding.
That's not an
I'm
actual
kidding.
fact.
No,
and
it's not.
here at Unexpected Wrestling, we only send you facts, folks. So if Nicole Bass isn't related to Lance Bass, I do apologize. Mr. Chunk is. I don't know. He's gonna have to check his sources. I'm gonna make him spend the hours checking those sources now and actually get in touch with Lance Bass after that one. All right, so let's move on to some Raw discussion here. And this was I believe this is the last Raw we were having overseas on this tour. Yep. They did a long overseas tour here. And wouldn't you know, the show opens with John Cena and Cody Rhodes cutting a promo once again. But the difference with this one is they actually got physical. They actually got physical at the very end here. And Cody landed a crossroads on John Cena. So this is pretty much very typical to the promos that they've been doing. They've been doing some real life shit in their promos lately. And we're going to get into that more on SmackDown later. They're cutting deep in these promos, I guess is the best way to put it. And they're getting some real tension, at least as it's being perceived by the audience, because I think probably Cena can't really do too much physical right now because of his obligations to whatever movie he's filming. But at the end of the promo here, Cena went to punch Cody. Cody ducked. Cody grabbed in the crossroads, landed the crossroads, and Cena, he appeared to be out for the count. One thing that I did note after this altercation was that I expect John Cena to get the upper hand before WrestleMania. I don't know if that's going to be happening tomorrow night or if it's going to be happening next week. I would assume John Cena would be at Raw the week of WrestleMania. So
I would think so.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll be out on Raw tomorrow night. That'd be a nice surprise, but I guarantee you he will be on Raw the week of WrestleMania, and maybe that will be when Cena gets his the upper hand, so that not only Cody gets the first physical contact before WrestleMania. What did you think of this segment, Mr. Chunk?
I liked it that it ended at physicality. If it didn't end in that way, it'd just be another rehashing of the same last two promos that they've done.
The three promos
and my issues. It's in a row. They didn't space it out. Had they spaced it out, waited a couple weeks, it wouldn't felt as repetitive. But good thing it ended in physicality, or else I would have been a little frustrated.
Yeah, and it just seemed very cookie cutter. The show opens with them each week for 3 weeks.
Yes.
It's just kind of, okay, we get it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, with Cena especially, he has that presence on television that no matter what, people are going to tune in. All eyeballs will be on that, regardless, even if they're saying the same thing over and over again. People tend to watch John Cena. So yeah, that's getting interesting. They're doing the best they can, I think. I think it would be mean a bit more if The Rock was involved, but maybe there's things that we don't know about going on with all that. We'll have to see what his involvement will be coming into WrestleMania here. If The Rock
Travis
is involved
Scott,
at all.
for all you know.
Yes. Apparently, according to the dirt sheets, Travis Scott is scheduled to be at WrestleMania.
Well, I have a feeling there'll be a performance.
Or if he's going to be performing in the ring, we'll have to see. To make me happy, I hope, he gets the Crossroads or something. I hope something happens where he.
Let's
gets
just
his
say if
ass
he's
kicked.
doing any musical performance, I'll be performing on my toilet during that time.
Oh,
Right?
God, dude. Jesus Christ. All right, let's move on here. Hey, guys, the New Catch Republic is back.
Hey guys.
Yeah, hi, guys. The New Catch Republic is back. What a great return they had. They immediately lost to the New Day. No promotion.
Yeah.
New Catch Republic, former WWE Tag Team Champions, immediately come back. No promotion, no nothing, and they immediately lose to the New Day. What a great way to bring that tag team back. I'm sure they have so many plans for them going forward.
Yep. At least I have their signatures on the jersey from WrestleMania.
Yeah, Mr. Chonk actually met the New Catch Republic. We went to they had a breakfast buffet where you met WWE superstars. And I apologize here, folks. I was done with the waiting in lines, and I was kind of done with the public dealing with the public in general during
You were
WrestleMania
having a pouty.
week.
You were having a pouty day that day.
And let's put into let's put it out there also. We were out till 2:30 a.m. the night before because of all the traffic. There was all types of stuff happening getting out of the arena and getting a ride home. So we were not home till like 2:30. I forget what time we had to be at
baby.
I think we had to be at that breakfast at 9.
Yeah, or 10. No, it was 10. It was 10.
Yeah, 10, but we had to be like getting on the train and everything. It was just that was the one thing I regret. I regret getting those breakfast tickets. Then of course we had to wait in lines for everything, even to get the food. But you know what? It was an experience. I got to at least see some WWE superstars close up, even though I wasn't really in the mood to go and socialize and get autographs from them. Trust me right now, though, if Tiffany Stratton was there, I would have put a fucking smile on my face and figured it out.
Oh, okay. You know what? My friend Justin Timberlake has some words for you. Cry me a river.
Oh, well, my friend Jack Perry also has some words for you. Cry me a river. But yeah, Mr. Chonk got autographs from Butch and I forget what's the other guy's name.
A Sundance Kid? Oh no.
Dude.
What the hell's his name now? I can't remember his name. Yeah, he was the guy who was injured, by the way.
Yeah,
that's why they just came back.
Who else did you meet there?
Apollo Crews.
Oh, and Mr. Chong tried to meet Piper Niven.
But
they kind of were like, "Hey, get the hell out of here, you weirdo."
Yeah.
No, he pretty much kind of waited a little too long, and then by the time he tried to get her autograph, they were done for the day. Yeah. So
I would have asked her to sign a dewdrop, though. I don't know if I would have gotten in trouble.
Good old dewdrop. Good dewdrop. That's one that I forgot about, to be honest with you. But yeah, New Catch Republic has returned and immediately lost to the New Day. Not sure what the deal is there. That's not going to help. New Day rocks. That's not going to help the Raw Tag Division by just like pretty much embarrassing one of the tag teams that could have been on there.
Even with New Day, like, what are they doing? I don't get it. Like,
they did the heel turn, and then it looks like they didn't really have a direction after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have a WrestleMania match. Not that I'm aware of.
There's a lot of people that are questionable not having a WrestleMania matches. Like Nia Jax isn't on the card either. There's a lot of like main players from 2024 that aren't on the card. Maybe they got some adjusting to do. I don't know, but they only got 2 weeks to figure this out. So we'll have to see. Speaking of we'll have to see and not getting on a WrestleMania card, Gunther versus Jimmy Uso. I just am not feeling this feud. I'm not feeling what WWE is cooking here. What they're cooking. Yeah, it smells like shit to me. So Gunther, Jimmy Uso, they had a back and forth match. And it ended up being just this segment where Gunther was pretty much had the match ended, but then he just kept on punishing Jimmy. Eventually they did the whole thing where Jimmy passes out, they ring the bell, and then Gunther just continues the onslaught. And interesting thing happens is Jey Uso comes out, tries to make the save, and Gunther, of all things, gets the little zip ties. He zip ties into the ropes. He doesn't get handcuffs. He doesn't get something that makes it look like Jay couldn't get out of it. He gets zip ties. You know, if you
they were effective. They were effective.
If you have enough strength, though, and you yank your arm hard enough, you can just break those things. I'm not sure. Dude. Maybe is there laws?
That's what you're nitpicking?
Well, I'm wondering, is there laws like in England that you can't like use handcuffs or something?
I don't know.
Like it's just weird that they chose that route. And then so they zip tie Jimmy Uso or Jey Uso to the ropes and have him watch like Gunther. I don't even know what you want to call this. Like Gunther was very slow with what he was doing, and he was like beating Jimmy Uso to a bloody pulp. Jimmy Uso did bleed in this segment, but it was just very slow. It didn't seem like this was like a chaotic situation.
Well, that was slow and methodical.
Maybe.
So, you and I differ here. I liked this segment compared to what they were doing before, which was nothing. I actually liked this segment. I'm not saying it's good as everything else.
Yeah.
But it's better than it was.
Maybe, but there's just more stuff that doesn't make sense here.
No, I disagree, because I think if they tell the story properly, at WrestleMania, Jey Uso could have the match nearly won, and Jimmy comes out for whatever reason, and Gunther turns attention to Jimmy, and it's the same thing over again. It's a choice. Jey can either win the title or protect his brother, but not both. And he'll have to choose. And that is a decent development in his character. If he chooses the title and doesn't protect his brother, right? Maybe that's a character change for Jey. If it's the other way around, right? He's chasing the title again. Maybe he's out of the title picture for a while. It's different. It's a little bit different. I'm not saying I'm totally behind it, but it's a little different than what they were doing, which was much of nothing.
What I guess the only thing I have to say is no yeet. It's not working for me, brother. It's not working for me. And I think at this point I'm just checked out. So they could give every fan in attendance $100 bill, and like I was still going to think this is the lamest bullshit.
I don't know. I think you have a little.
I'm checked out at this point.
You have fatigue from the CM Punk Roman Reigns stuff and the John Cena and Cody Rhodes stuff. And we said this last week. It's the same problem of those are the top two feuds, and everything else feels distant second.
You're correct with that.
A little bit of traction.
You're correct with that, but my whole thing is Gunther is capable of so much more, and he's like,
and some of that's on him.
Stuck with this, and it's just not working. Yeah. It's not. I mean, I hope they sell a lot of Yeet shirts, because that's the only way they're making any sort of profit with this. Because this is not a memorable feud. This shouldn't even be on WrestleMania. Let alone the fact that this is the Royal Rumble winner. Like, that's the only thing that's keeping him on WrestleMania, is the fact that he won the Royal Rumble. At this point, I almost want them to put it on the freaking pre-show or something. Like, that's how much I'm not... Like,
you're harsh.
You talked about... What match were you talking about where you're going to be on the shitter for? This is the match, like, when I need to use the restroom...
Travis Scott.
When I need to use the restroom at WrestleMania... This is going to be the match I use it for, and I'll make sure it is the longest, most like relaxing fucking time in the restroom I've ever had, because I don't want, like, I am not interested in Woo! Yeah, that'll be me in there. Woo! Taking a shit. Better than the Jey and Gunther match. I'm not interested in it. I'm really not.
Wow. Okay.
I guess, like, if Jey wins the title, I'll be interested to see the crowd response to it, and see everybody yeeting their yeets off. But, yeah, the match just... I'm sorry, Gunther, you deserve so much more. Hopefully they can make up for this at some point this year. Speaking of matches at WrestleMania, it looks like they are moving forward with Logan Paul and AJ Styles. They were teasing a couple different things with AJ Styles. They were teasing the Braun Breaker AJ Styles thing for the longest time, but now it looks like they are moving in the direction of Logan Paul and AJ Styles, and I'm kind of for this. It's a logical choice. You get two polarizing people in a match together. Styles can get a good match out of anybody. Not that Logan needs somebody to carry him, but this is a match we haven't seen before. They kind of dealt with each other in the past. Like, if you remember when Logan turned on The Miz, it was AJ Styles that apparently was the mastermind behind that. And then they didn't really do much with that ever since then. So this is a new matchup. I think it's going to be one of those. It will be like an undercard match that could potentially be one of the better matches of the night. I'm not saying that it has the potential of stealing the show, because I think both nights have pretty good heavy hitting main events. But I think
it's a dark horse match.
Yeah.
There's very little build, which is unfortunate. There's very little build at all.
They got 2 more weeks to build it up a little bit.
But I don't know if it really needs a build. I think you're just gonna watch it for the pop. It's gonna be a popcorn match. It's gonna be high impact, high velocity. Doesn't really need a story. Not everything needs a story.
No,
not everything needs a build. It's just gonna
this
be
is
a
one
good
that doesn't really need a build. But the build that they had on week 1 has me more interested than the Gunther, Jimmy, and Jey Uso stuff. Just Logan, the promo they cut, Logan premiering his new finishing move, which I thought was interesting. I actually liked it. The only issue I have with his new finishing move, I think, what are they calling it? The pulverizer. I think that's what they called his old one, but now he's doing it a little bit differently. The only issue I see with it is it's not a move that he could do on everybody.
Yeah,
it seems like you have to have a little bit of athletic ability to be able to take that move, which AJ Styles does, but something like Logan couldn't do that to Randy Orton. I don't think Randy Orton has the physical attributes to flip himself in midair and pull that move off correctly, unless they did it differently or something like that.
I agree.
It was a really cool move to see, perfectly executed. I'm interested in the match. To be honest, I'll have to really think about next week when we make our official predictions at who I see winning. I mean, off the top of my head, I think Logan really would need to win more than Styles, since Logan's coming off a loss to fucking LA Knight recently. But then again, I could also see Styles winning. I think Styles also needs a big win. So that will be an interesting match to see, and what direction they go with that. I don't think it's going to be a long feud. I think it's just going to be a WrestleMania thing, and then they're going to move on from it. But it'll be a fun match to watch. Let's just say.
Plus, I think with Logan Paul, I don't think he's full time. I think he's goes away for a month, comes back for a month, goes away for a month.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be invested in the same types of feuds you'd see.
Yeah, he's just not. He's not somebody that's going to be able to do full-time work for WWE.
Right.
He's just very busy. He's an entrepreneur. He's running 5 different companies at the same time. He's investing more time than probably a lot of these other entrepreneurs would. So give him credit for that. But he's not going to be a weekly guy, unfortunately. Right. And then for the main event. So we had the Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky with Bianca Belair as the referee. I thought it was a pretty good match. Told a lot of different stories going into that.
Albeit a little predictable.
Yes.
But that's okay.
It's kind of... Well, you know what? I didn't really predict the DQ.
I did. Yeah. How else
for
would
some
they get
reason,
there?
my mind was going, I thought that Rhea was going to get the belt back. But... yeah, that's not how it went. It ended up being a DQ. Belair called for the bell. And then Rhea kind of went on a rampage. And the end result is it looks like they're still going to do the triple threat at WrestleMania. Which I think we both were in agreement that was likely what was going to happen. Although I did see a loophole where they could have still done a one-on-one with Belair and Rhea. But it looks like we got Io as the DEI hire in that match, and they're just putting her in that match just to put her in there. I personally would have rather seen a one-on-one match, to be honest with you, but it is what it is. Triple threat. This is like Triple Threat of Mania here. We got a couple.
Oh yeah, we said that a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we do have some one-on-one matches, but there's a lot of multi-women and multi-men matches going on. one thing of note, it looks like do they have some sort of tag team tournament for the women's tag team championship
coming up.
So
yes.
yeah, it looks like they might add a women's tag team match on the WrestleMania card, which is good. That gets Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez on the card, and then maybe that could fit in. It looks like Boring Bailey might fit in there somewhere. Whatever, you got to get Bailey on the card somehow. We can't have a WrestleMania without Bailey. God. So yeah, it looks like matches are still in progress of getting announced and worked. This might be a WrestleMania where a match gets announced like the week of WrestleMania. Like they're kind of like
it happens
in the final round here, and we still don't have all the answers yet. So yeah, that's how Raw ended with the special guest referee match, and it ended up being a nothing burger with the DQ, and just kept on prolonging this feud with the three of them. And it looks like we're gonna get a triple threat. Unfortunately, will not be the main event of WrestleMania, but that will be one of the matches I'm looking forward to. What is your predictions? Like, what night do you think the triple threat women's match will be? For some reason, I'm thinking...
I think it's night one.
Yeah.
Because the Tiffany and Charlotte's going to be night 2.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be on 2 different shows. They're not going to have both the women's titles on one night.
I agree.
My thing is, I don't think they should put the star power just on night 2. Although there's guaranteed star power on night 1 with the triple threat main event.
Yeah. I don't know. See, a couple of weeks ago, I would have thought the reverse.
Yeah.
Because I thought the Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair match felt a little bland. And
yes,
now I don't feel that way.
Yeah, next segment we're going to get into that. We're going to discuss that and just how quickly it went from a little boring Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte to now a very interesting Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte. Yeah, so my prediction is you're probably right. It's probably going to be a night 1 thing. And I think night 2 will be Tiffany and Charlotte. But I can't, like, my prediction is going to go with whatever this women's tag team title match. I think whatever night that's on, I think is going to be the night that we have the Tiffany and Charlotte, because I don't think that they want to have 2 multi-women matches on in one night.
Maybe that's possible.
But we'll just have to see. I guess that's a weird prediction to try to have. Let's get into the Tiffany and Charlotte thing. We're gonna have a nice little discussion about this. So Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte had a promo on SmackDown, and we're gonna watch clips from this, and we're gonna stop and pause and talk about things here. So let's get that set up really quick. Let's do this. Do another screen share. So it's important that we watch this because WWE has already started to censor what happened here. And as we watch this, I'm going to have some things to say because people on the internet are claiming that most people are claiming that Charlotte went off script here. And
I guess you could say that WWE has the right to censor these videos.
God, that's an early 2000s reference there for anybody paying attention. All right, so let's start this clip up. We got Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton. Let's start with talking about the past promos that these ladies have been doing. I would say the past 2 or 3 promos they've been doing, Charlotte has kind of like been walking over Tiffany. Like it seems like she's kind of taking some of the low blows and then kind of just steamrolling over her, not really letting her respond. And this is kind of how this interview's starting here. It seems like it's going to be more the same, her kind of steamrolling over her, because let's be honest, Tiffany is new to the main event scene. Maybe she's not quite comfortable cutting promos in this venue like this. If you notice, like during her run this year, a lot of times she was teamed up with Nia Jax. She wasn't always just cutting one-on-one promos in the ring. Now all of a sudden Charlotte's here. She's got a main event headlining match at WrestleMania. All of a sudden now all eyes are on her and she's cutting promos, and maybe she's a little nervous. Who knows? Charlotte seems to be taking advantage of her kind of being a rookie. That's how I feel anyway. So let's watch some more. Now you've noticed right here, Charlotte. So they're in Chicago, and Chicago is a very, very loud crowd. And putting yourself in that position, and you're trying to cut a promo in the ring, even though you have microphones, if the crowd is loud enough, it can kind of rock your psyche a little bit. And if you have bullet points you're trying to hit in a promo like this, and you have this crowd that's really, really loud, screaming and yelling and booing, you could kind of lose track of what you're trying to think. And I think after what Charlotte said there, the crowd really turned on her, and I think she kind of lost her train of thought a little bit. Let me know what you guys think here. So at this point, I would say things are still on track. Nothing has kind of gone off script. It seems like the points that they're trying to get across are getting across. The delivery of it seems fine. Nothing's telling me, hey, they're improvising yet. But very shortly, you're going to see kind of a different tone happen.
Well, before you do that,
Yep.
hold on for a second. Where'd you get the recording from? Because I watched this live, and the crowd's reaction was way louder than
I think, unfortunately, I did get this off of Twitter because WWE censored the actual broadcast feed of it. So the feed might not be the best audio quality, unfortunately, but I wanted to make sure it was the uncensored version.
And what are the odds that when we watched it live that the WWE piped in crowd noise? You think that that's a possibility?
It's possible. Because
when I watched it, they booed the shit out of her.
Yeah,
of
it's
Charlotte.
possible that they did it in
loud.
certain markets. It's difficult to pipe in crowd noise on live TV. That was something they did a lot on the pre-recorded SmackDown days. It is possible for them to do it. It's just very difficult for it to make it sound authentic.
Because I don't know if you watched it live, but they booed the crap out of Charlotte.
Yes, and it came across a lot louder than it is.
And you could barely hear it in this clip. So I want to make it very clear. They booed her almost.
So if you notice
within 30 seconds.
If you notice at the top of the clip here, you see the Netflix symbol. So this is telling me it's coming from a different country.
From international,
because the international feeds they actually have SmackDown on Netflix. But unfortunately, I wanted to get a copy of the uncensored version. This was the one that I found. So the audio might have differed on the US feed here.
Just wanted to paint that picture for our listeners and watchers.
Well, you'll see that Charlotte does seem a bit. You'll see she kind of loses her focus here, and I think starting.
But it won't seem obvious. It seemed obvious when I watched it because the crowd wouldn't even let her speak.
Yeah,
that's how rough it was.
Yeah.
Podcast.
Yeah. So clearly, Charlotte, she lost her focus, and There's different things you could say there, kind of, I wouldn't call it a rookie mistake, because I'd never been in those shoes, but a veteran like Charlotte, she probably should have been a little more prepared to conduct herself a little differently in a situation like that, and kind of, but you have to remember, Charlotte has also been away for almost exactly a year at this point, and she's kind of slowly getting back into things. And she hasn't been on the road for a year cutting promos and like dealing with this stuff. This is the first time where she's probably gotten a heated reaction like this in front of a live crowd in a long time. So, and also maybe they just didn't spend a lot of time going over the bullet points here, and the crowd just kind of made her lose her train of thought, and then her mind went blank and just forgot where they were trying to go.
Possibly.
But you'll see, they don't go to where they're supposed to be going. That's for sure.
I mean, Tiffany didn't seem to have a problem.
No, after we see the whole thing, I'll explain what my theory is on what actually happened. Also, have to remember, for segments like this, they are on strict time restraints. If WWE says, okay, you guys got 8 minutes, they can't, especially with live TV. Back when it was taped, they could go over and then they could splice it and cut it up and get it to where they need it to be. Live TV, if you go over your time, you're taken away from the main event, and that's something you can't do. Especially people like Charlotte has a little leadway, but somebody like Tiffany, she would get in a lot of trouble if they went over their time for something like this. It's not something you can do. And that's the worrisome thing in a situation like this. When they're losing their train of thought, you have to improvise because you have to hit that time point or else you're getting in a lot of trouble. So I can understand where imagine you're in that situation. Imagine you started at a job and somebody like Charlotte Flair is your trainer, and for whatever reason they give up on training you, and they're just like, you know what, you just do it, you know enough. That's basically what just happened there. Imagine it's your first day on the job, you're with a veteran who's showing you how to do things, and then they just kind of give up and they're like, you take it from here, show me what you got.
I guess you just accidentally passed the torch.
Sort of, yeah, but this is pretty a weird situation where she's like,
yes,
I lost where we're supposed to go. I'm not able to do this. You take it from here. And totally the whole, at this point, everything's off the rails. They're totally off point. Whatever bullet points they had are out the window. Like they're not really sure where they're going. And this is what improvising looks like on live television, folks. That right there, that's the delivery of that tells me that was on their hit points. That was something, that line was something that somewhere they were going on the original idea. Obviously they're off that, but Tiffany still knows like the key one-liners that she was supposed to hit, and she's just finding ways of kind of hitting them, even though it doesn't make as much sense since Charlotte isn't feeding her the lines before it.
Correct.
So
I agree.
Give her credit for that. She's hitting the key points that they were wanting to hit here. Some really bad improvising by Charlotte there.
By Charlotte, that doesn't sound like that was in the script
that
either.
sounded like a grade school comeback.
She just knew she needed to respond without looking weak.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing she thought of.
And something I've noticed, like Tiffany is referring to things in her little one bites that she's doing that Charlotte didn't even say. Charlotte didn't talk about her record or anything. Like she's pretty much going through the points that she was supposed to make with it when Charlotte never even made the counterpoints before it.
That's the best she can do, right? Somebody's got to keep the segment together.
She's sticking to her lines. Charlotte is totally off the rails at this point. So, I guess I could see where people are saying that this whole segment fell apart. But I see it as one person is kind of staying on track. The other person fell off the rails. I can't say I blame them, because if I was in that situation, I probably would do the same thing. I guess the main thing I want to argue is the people that are trying to say that this was done on purpose. I don't think it was done on purpose.
No, I think the crowd. I think they did expect the crowd to be as vocal and take over the segment.
Yeah,
and that screwed up the timing.
I know that people hate Charlotte. I think some people get wrapped up in her character. I do not think that she purposely derailed this segment to try to make Tiffany look bad. Because, in my opinion, Tiffany didn't look
Tiffany
bad.
looked
Charlotte
good.
did.
She looked,
Charlotte
I agree. Yeah.
And I don't think she would purposely derail it. And I obviously don't think Tiffany got in some jabs that she wasn't supposed to say. I don't think that. Just the delivery of it tells me that this was planned. Just the way that she emphasizes on certain words, the way that the camera caught her in the perfect view when she says it, tells me that this was orchestrated and planned ahead of time. The Charlotte stuff, not so much, especially the squeaky voice insult. That's just sounds like she's improvising here. At that point, it looked like Tiffany was kind of trying to steamroll over Charlotte a little bit, probably being like, listen, we got to keep going here. We can't, she's like, she's not going to just continue whatever the hell Charlotte's doing, just like delaying the segment. She's just trying to get it over with at this point.
Because they're tight on time, right? They gotta wrap this up.
Or it's obvious that Charlotte is just not with it, so they're just trying to get through it and get the hell out. And
might have been unscripted. I was on the fence.
I still think Charlotte is improvising, because WWE wouldn't have her reference something that they're not referencing on television. They don't really reference.
And they're not referencing her relationship.
So the way I look at it, I see it differently than what everyone else is saying, where they're saying that Tiffany went off script, and that I see it as the crowd rocked Charlotte for whatever reason.
Yes.
She forgot where they were supposed to be going. She made that very clear without saying it outright that she was lost. They needed help. In my opinion, maybe Wade Barrett could have tried to reel them in a little bit and try to get them back on track. But you know what? He's not really an in-ring interviewer. He's just commentary.
No,
So
yes,
it's
yeah.
like, if somebody like Michael Cole was in there, he probably would have kind of intervened and got them back on track and like
Yeah.
pretty much fed Charlotte the words for her at that point and been like, "Oh, Charlotte, you said this in the past, right?" And he could have. There's ways that the interviewer could have kind of reeled that in, but
Yes.
Wade Barrett unfortunately isn't really an interviewer, so like he probably didn't even know what the hell to do in that situation.
Yeah. It's tough, and there's certain crowds, and I stick by this,
Yeah.
that they should train these wrestlers to deal with. And any of the, I call them the Northeast crowds.
Mhm.
That's Philly, New York, Chicago, Boston. I guess a
Yep.
little bit of Midwest.
Yep.
Those are the 4 die-hard, hardcore, true wrestling fans that they're going to be vocal whether they like something or not.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to deal with it.
Absolutely. So I think the whole idea went off the rails. Charlotte lost her footing there. Tiffany tried to stay on track. One positive thing I'll say is it has me a lot more interested in this match now, regardless if there is any real tension or not. The internet is saying that there is. There's dirt sheet people saying that there is real tension between them. It has me interested in the match.
That's not a bad thing. Like,
Yeah.
Not everybody is friends with each other backstage. Not everybody goes home and, goes out and has ice cream after Raw or SmackDown, right?
Yeah, you
Some
have
of these
chocolate, I
people,
have vanilla.
they're acting professional, right? Because they want to earn a paycheck and not lose their job, right? But at the end of the day, they don't have to like each other.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, this is what live television is about. These type of crash and burn segments. This is why they do it live. Like, everything doesn't need to be overproduced and crazy. And
you know what? This might have actually helped Tiffany.
Yes. Put her in
Charlotte
this situation. Yeah.
And Charlotte flubbing, even though it's a shame, I don't think it really hurt her career. So this actually helps Tiffany. Doesn't really do anything good or bad for Charlotte. She's already established. She's already who she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so interesting segment. One thing I wanted to talk about is segments like this that have happened in the past. Now, this isn't the first time Charlotte Flair has been involved in segments that have went off the rails. If you remember years ago, they had the whole thing where Charlotte and Becky Lynch were like swapping titles or something, and Charlotte was supposed to hand her title to Becky Lynch. And Becky Lynch was supposed to hand her title to Charlotte, and Charlotte instead just dropped it.
This. Yes.
And that apparently was a real thing, and they like had a heated exchange backstage. And then I'm sure everyone remembers when Charlotte and Nia Jax started like actually physically fighting in the ring, not a wrestling match. They actually started like punching each other and whatever. Like, Charlotte kind of has a reputation of this kind of stuff, so I can see why people are skeptical. WWE tries to stay away from like these underproduced segments. They don't like it when things go off the rails. There's a few times that it's happened in the past. Obviously, everyone remembers CM Punk's pipe bomb, but even that was a little orchestrated because they gave him the time to do that. They're like, okay, you're at this point, you're going to come out there, speak your grievances, and then when we're done, we're going to cut your microphone off. Like, that was, they didn't know what he was going to say, but they were still in control of that segment as much as possible. And then the one that I remember the most was Joey Styles back in 2006. He was the lead Raw announcer, but then Jim Ross came back and he was kind of losing his position. And they kind of needed a way to get rid of Joey Styles off the TV, but people like Joey Styles, so they kind of did it in a weird way where like Jerry King Lawler was sort of bullying him, and then he pushed into his breaking point where he just walked off of the announce desk, and then he came back out with a microphone and he cut like a promo, talked about he likes wrestling, not sports entertainment and stuff like that. That was another situation where they probably let him have some liberties, but it was still like a controlled segment where they were like, okay, this, and this
And
needs to happen.
he was known for doing that. If you ever
Yeah.
watched him on ECW, he was known
Yeah,
for being
so they
a
were
little
playing
bit
into his
eccentric.
reputation.
Yeah.
But still, I think that they kind of had a cookie cutter thing where they're like, this is going to happen. Everything in between, we're going to leave it up to you. Don't say these words. Don't get us kicked off television. Blah blah blah. So WWE has a history of doing these planned, like, shoot segments. But something like this wasn't a planned shoot segment. It kind of turned into one because they had to improvise. And
yeah, I agree.
No matter how you look at it, like, do we blame Charlotte for kind of losing her place and it kind of derailing it? Yes, I think most of the blame will go on her for this. Tiffany, I think, held up pretty well as best she could in a segment like that. I would be afraid if somebody like Naomi was in a segment like that because I don't see her cutting a promo well at all. I think she would have really had that go off the rails and probably would have just, the ratings would have plummeted. But yeah, so that happened on SmackDown. That's also going to be in our SmackDown discussion here. So let's get into that. So the first thing I have with a SmackDown discussion was the Rey Fenix debut. I said a decent debut from Rey Fenix, but I did feel like Penta's there was a little more emotional investment into it. And
I somewhat agree.
Yeah, that's not taking away from Rey Fenix. I'm very happy for him. It looked like it meant a lot to him to be finally in the WWE, but it just felt like maybe it was just a presentation that Raw did for Penta compared to what the SmackDown presentation was for Rey Fenix. Penta seemed to have more of an impact with me than
I 100% agree. Although one thing that I will put in the plus side for Rey Fenix, I thought his moveset had a little bit more pizzazz.
Yes, Rey Fenix is younger than Penta, and Penta, I think, is kind of stuck on his ways with the way that he does things. And Rey Fenix, I think, is kind of evolving his moveset, and he's willing to try different things. Rey Fenix probably is more polished in the ring. Rey Fenix, I think, is going to be closer resemblance to like a Rey Mysterio over time, I think. But we're going to have to wait and see what SmackDown does with somebody like Rey Fenix. I thought it was a great debut. I just feel that Penta's had more impact. Not sure why I feel that way, but it's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, unless they could get him and train him on doing promos. Like, I feel like Penta probably could stand on his own, right?
Yes.
I think he could be independent, eventually cut his own promos. Rey Fenix, I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to train him. I don't know if they need to pair him with somebody.
Also, I think it's kind of weird timing to have a debut. Like, you would think that
so close to WrestleMania.
Like Rey Fenix should have debuted the week after WrestleMania.
Yes.
Just very weird unless they have WrestleMania plans for him. At this point, like, there's so many people off the WrestleMania card. You almost think they need to have a battle royal just to get everybody on the card, like the Andre the Giant Battle Royale again or something.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I can really think of. Next thing was the Tiffany and Flair segment. But what else can we say? We took some time, kind of dug through that whole thing. Pretty much gave it a colonoscopy. We found the shit in there, and we gave our opinions on it. And I think in the end, though, it's going to help that feud, get people more interested. I was already interested just judging off of their wrestling ring style. I'm interested to see where this is going. Let's see if they do another promo segment next week with them too. If they do, I don't think it's going to be in front of a live crowd. The next point that I had for SmackDown, and here I am being a hater again, I said, I feel there's little to no effort being put into the Naomi heel turn. She has the same music, same hairstyle, cutting the same kind of promos. All they did was put some caution tape around her. If that doesn't give you no effort vibes, I don't know what will. It doesn't seem like she's invested in this. It doesn't seem like WWE's invested in this. I gave my thoughts last week of what they should, in my opinion, done with Naomi. Obviously, I don't expect them to like cut her hair, like shave her bald or something. But I think she should straighten her hair, wear it down, come out, no flashy gear, no Halloween costumes, all in black, and just cut a promo like as she's never cut one before. No screaming, no whatever, wilding out, whatever the hell you want to call it. Just have her cut a very kind of like John Cena cutting his heel promos. So pretty much, for her to work as a heel, she needs to be the polar opposite of what she was before. Right now, we have a subtle change, but she's still the stupid wearing Halloween costumes. She's still doing the fist pumping glow shit song or whatever. Even though if she's not fist pumping, it's still playing the song. The Naomi heel turn has to be a complete package. They can't just put one piece to the puzzle. And I think it's not going to be a successful heel run if they're not willing to commit completely to it.
Who needs to win more at WrestleMania?
Between the Jade. Jade, 100%.
I agree.
100% at this point, especially if Naomi's not even taking the heel turn serious. Give it the Jade.
I agree.
Give it the Jade. Take Naomi off TV for a little bit, and then have her re-debut full heel. Not this partial crap. Not just putting... Like, this is literally like giving them like this beat up rusted car, and all they're doing is giving it a new fresh coat of paint. And it's still a beat up rusted car, just now it's a bright red. You know,
she looks like she went to Party City and then got her.
Yeah, it's like they just put some caution tape on her, like, you're a heel now, and have her come out and be like, hi guys, I'm a heel. I'm not buying it, and I'm disappointed because Naomi is good in the ring. One thing I did notice is they changed her finishing move. That's a start.
Yes,
She's not doing the rear view. She's not shoving her ass in somebody's face. Now she has a new finishing move. Maybe this is slowly evolving into something, but this is WrestleMania season, baby. We should already have evolved this. She should already be a full heel. This is not trial and error time. So definitely think Jade needs that win. Naomi, it would do nothing for her to get that win. Kevin Owens. This is a shocker to me. Kevin Owens, I guess, consulted with some doctors, and he is now out of WrestleMania due to a neck injury. He's going to have to get neck surgery. So, this is the
How's
same...
his back? And the other two. What?
His neck is back in his... So, this is reminiscent of Edge. So this could mean retirement for Kevin Owens. We're hoping it's not. Neck surgery is a very, very serious thing. And we're talking over a year out for something like this.
I mean, Steve Austin had it, right?
Yes.
I mean,
neck injuries they shorten your career big time. Regardless if you're able to get back in the ring again, this is cut off years off of your career. And Kevin Owens is already winding his career down.
And he was a little bit on the older side, not a new. Yeah.
So very, very unfortunate for him. And we're going to wish him the best and see where things go from here regarding his career. If a return happens, and when it does, what kind of... I don't know if we're going to have Kevin Owens as a full-time WWE talent anymore. If he does come back, I think it's going to be on a match-by-match basis.
At any point during the segment, did you think it was a work at all?
Yes, I did.
I did for a brief moment.
It's like, Kevin Owens. It's Kevin Owens. And it could still be a work. It really could. Because WWE has been working like the dirt sheets lately. And with Kevin Owens, you never know. Because he would go all out and do something like this. It could still be a work. It really could. It would not shock me if next week, all of a sudden, like Randy Orton, they're trying to announce his next opponent, and Kevin Owens attacks him from behind.
Because he's been quoted on radio shows in the last week. He's been doing radio show tours talking about it.
It would not surprise me.
Yeah.
This could be the Mark Henry retirement thing. And then it ends up like not being it. It would not surprise me. In fact, I'd say there's maybe a 30% chance.
I agree with that. I mean, but here's the thing. You heard it from me. When did they have that ladder match with Cody Rhodes?
Royal Rumble. January.
I said it then. And I don't know if you could pull back the tape.
Yeah.
I said, wow, that was a dangerous spot. I can't believe that there was
You
nothing
did.
wrong with Kevin Owens. And then they made a big stink that saying Cody was potentially a little injured. And it
They
was like,
did.
Kevin
I do
Owens seemed
remember that.
fine.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
were.
Kevin Owens seemed worse for wear. And they
Yeah.
did nothing and said
So
nothing about that.
yeah,
And I'm not
after
saying that was the catalyst match.
yeah
But, dude, like,
after
that's crazy.
after the ladder match, he did do the thing with Sami Zayn, and then he hasn't
Yeah.
really had a match since then. It's hard to say. I mean, as of right now, he's saying that he's due to neck injury. He's out. He's got the. That's how you get fans invested. If it ends up being part of a story, right there, Jey Uso takes some notes. Jesus. So we're gonna have to wait and see who Randy Orton's opponent might be. To be honest with you, I'm kind of hoping for like an NXT call up. I'm hoping they give it to somebody from NXT.
You know who I would vote
Surprise
for?
us. Who's that?
You know what I vote for? Ethan Page. I think a fantastic match.
Yeah, like
between
obviously
the two of them.
obviously this isn't going to be what fans expected because they wanted Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, but make fucking lemonade out of the lemons here. Let's give it to somebody. Like, we've seen so many. There's limited options. Have a call up. Make it a new match that we haven't seen before with an NXT talent that they think could handle something like this. And I think it could still be a good thing. That's if Kevin Owens is actually injured. I'm starting to question things here. I'm starting to question what my name is. And is Kevin Owens really injured? We'll have to see. Next thing on the list here, Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman. This is one of the best Braun Strowman matches I've seen in a long time, other than his work with Bronson Reed.
Yes.
Braun Strowman seems to really do well in these big men, just heavy, powerful matches here. Strong style. If you need a heavy hitting match, Braun Strowman's your guy. I thought this was one of his best matches. Definitely the best match I've seen from Braun this year. Probably the best match I've seen with him in a long time. And Jacob Fatu. Now, my memory serving me correct, does this give Jacob Fatu a shot at LA Knight?
Yes. I'm assuming at WrestleMania at this point.
So LA Knight,
and please
Jacob
God,
Fatu.
Jacob Fatu should win that match.
That's exactly. Like LA Knight, I'm just God. He had a match, but I didn't even put it on my discussion here because
it wasn't worth it.
Don't care. It's I'm not into.
Look, he's a good worker in the ring, but outside of that, I'm not vested in him.
He's just very cookie cutter. I don't know.
He's like a Ludwig Kaiser, but the opposite.
I'm more in the Kaiser than LA Knight. Honestly,
same. Ludwig Kaiser, good worker in the ring, but I'm not vested.
Yeah, he's got Kaiser needs to step his character up a little bit, in my opinion.
Stop feeling like Gunther 2.0.
Yeah.
Like,
he's got time to grow. Unfortunately, LA Knight, he's over the hill. He's already in his 40s.
Yeah,
Kaiser, he has room to grow. He's got time. Last segment we're going to talk about here with SmackDown is CM Punk revealing his favor. And I don't think either of us really called this one. The favor is having Paul Heyman in his corner at WrestleMania. It's still
not
kind
exactly, but
yeah, it's still kind of leading into me believing that CM Punk there's going to be a heel turn.
Yeah, and both you and I kind of said that.
Yeah, and I think Paul Heyman will be involved with that. And this is kind of...
You had an extreme idea that Seth Rollins would, steal Paul Heyman away. That would be out of left field. I don't see it, but that would be out of left field.
I always try to think of what way they could get everybody involved in this. And Seth Rollins, unfortunately, is starting to feel like the third wheel. At first, CM Punk felt like the third wheel. Now Seth Rollins is feeling like the third wheel. Like, CM Punk kind of got himself invested in this story, and now Seth Rollins, his issue with Roman is kind of on the back burner. So
unless you think that with Seth Rollins and he has this history of injuries and other physical issues, do you think that this is his? Look, after WrestleMania, he'll go away for a little bit to heal up.
We'll have to see.
And maybe that's why he's not he feels like the third wheel, because that way he can gracefully kind of exit.
We'll have to see.
for a month or
what
two.
I'll say
and then
is
come
next
back.
week when we do our official predictions, this is going to be the hardest one for me to put in
It's
an
I
official
don't know who
prediction for.
wins. It
Yeah,
is very
this is the
hard
most difficult match that I could
because here's the
think of.
thing: none of them need to win,
Yeah,
and none
none
of
of them
them
need it.
can.
There's no title on the line, and I don't
Yeah,
see where they go after WrestleMania. So it's like, I
it
really
doesn't
don't.
matter who wins. It almost
Yeah,
doesn't matter who wins.
doesn't
It's so
matter.
weird. It's one of my favorite matches I'm invested in,
Yeah,
but I actually don't care who wins.
yeah.
It's so
It's
weird.
just going to be
It doesn't
interesting.
matter. It
It's going to be
literally
interesting.
nothing's on the line. It would have been nice, and this would have been my prediction.
Mhm.
It would have been nice had the favor been whoever wins the match, Paul Heyman's their wise man.
Okay,
That would have actually had something at stake.
Paul Heyman on a pole match, pretty much.
Almost. That's the favor. The favor is a little bit, just a tiny bit of a nothing burger.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's kind of planting some seeds. I think I might know where my prediction is going to go, but we'll see. I'm going to let things stew. We'll see what happens next week on television.
I know the dirt sheets out there thought the favor was if CM Punk wins, he gets a title match at whatever next major.
But how would Paul
happens to
Heyman
not
be
be
able
it.
to pull that off for him?
You know, go behind the scenes
Yeah,
and talk to
makes
Triple
sense.
H.
This makes sense. It seems like the initial thing would have been the WrestleMania main event. That would have made perfect sense. This is kind of... It still makes sense a little bit, I guess. But we'll see. We'll see where things go. They still got 2 more weeks for them to build this one up. Yes, but next week we are going to have our official WrestleMania predictions on who we think is going to win. So keep track of that. Then the following week we're going to be doing a special in-studio broadcast on Sunday after WrestleMania, going over WrestleMania Saturday. We're going to be playing some WWE 2K25. And then Monday, sometime in the afternoon likely, or early evening, we will be recapping all of WrestleMania, going over who won, the predictions, and then maybe we'll decide what kind of punishment the loser will have to get some point down the road, likely eating something
Whoever has
spicy
the least amount of correct predictions.
Yes. We'll think of something. We'll think of something. Something funny.
How will we keep each other honest to make sure our predictions are like unique and we don't talk to each other and they're stamped?
Well, we're just gonna have to make sure that we stay true to our values here.
Okay.
We're not gonna cheat on our predictions with each other, especially because listen, I don't want to do a punishment. I'm sure you're not gonna want to do a well, maybe you will. You might like, I want to drink a raw egg or something. Who knows? We'll have to come up with something funny to do here.
Is there anything at stake with the 2K25 situation?
I don't know. I mean, I do have some nasty jelly beans that we could kind of put on the line.
We've been down that road before, and I feel like it ends the same way, which is
we'll have to think about it.
You puking them up, even at the most mildest flavors.
Dude, you try liver and onions and tell me if that's mild.
I just have a stronger gag reflex.
We'll have to think about it this week and come up with something. I'm afraid to do it though.
Hot chip,
I do have them, but I've heard a lot of things about these hot chip challenges. I have 2 hot chips, but I've heard that like literally people have gone to the hospital doing this, and you need gloves to even handle the chip.
What if you just licked it, not ate it, but just like put your tongue on it? Yeah.
We'll have to think about it. I'm not throwing it out the door. We'll have to think about it.
Okay.
Whoever loses has to lick a hot chip. What kind of?
Yeah.
Or are we like crunch? Has to take like a little nibble. I don't know. I could tell you right now though, if that's going to be the challenge, I am going to make sure everything possible that I do not lose, because I do not want to do that at all.
Well, I'll be nice. We get milkshakes beforehand. You can chase it with a milkshake.
Yeah, they bring all the boys. Oh, you know what? They have Shamrock shakes. We can get some Shamrock shakes to.
Won't they be out of season at that point?
I hope not, but if they are, then we'll just get regular milkshakes.
Like St. Patrick's Day was like 3 weeks ago.
Well, dude, it's McDonald's. You never know. They might have some backlog stuff.
And half the time, their ice cream machine's down.
Yeah, that is true. We'll have to get a Cold Stone milkshake or something.
Yeah. Or do you have Dairy Queen?
Yeah, we do. We have one right nearby.
Okay.
Actually. So we could do that.
There you go.
Anyway, speaking of Dairy Queen, let's get out of here. We're lactose intolerant. We don't want to talk too much about dairy.
I'm not lactose intolerant.
It sounds like it sometimes. Yeah, so next week, we'll see you guys next week. We'll have our official predictions. We'll talk to you more about the news and headlines and gossip in the world of wrestling. And always expect the unexpected with Unexpected Wrestling. See you guys. Have a good night. And we will see you.